So welcome back, and without further delays, let's dive into our next session. Do we have any managers in this room? Do you have any managers in this room? Any managers? To all managers, raise your hands. We sent you for a break just to help the energy levels. We didn't send you for the break to make it worse. I'm sure you will all agree that in today's world, productivity is under the microscope. Many of us find themselves in contexts where we're expected to achieve more with less, while we navigate uncertainty, and at the same time we're expected to be caring about people, understanding generational needs, inspire the teams to outperform others, and more. Dr. Lise Lewis, which was also one of my teachers when I was doing my diploma for coaching, global leadership coach, executive mentor, published author and keynote speaker, will share insights on integrating coaching and mentoring for a fresh approach to critical conversations that improve performance. Dr. Lise Lewis is an EMCC Global Special Ambassador, EMCC Global President during 2011 to 2017, and the founder of Blue Sky International. Let's give a warm welcome to Dr. Lise Lewis.
Are you hearing me okay? Yeah, it's on now. Thank you. Wow, Kalimera. Yeah. I can't be proud of that. It's one of the 4 words in Greek that I know. And I've been coming here for 6 years, so you'd think I would have improved on that, wouldn't you? But I'm afraid I'm a bit of a failure. So I've got Kalimera, Kalispera, Yassas is really useful. I say Yassas everywhere I go, and everyone, Yassas. And then everyone starts speaking to me in Greek, and I go, no, I'm English. And I also know Aferistan. So, you know, that's not a bad combination, is it? It gets me through anyway. Anyway, it's so lovely to be back here in Cyprus and to meet many colleagues that I've made and friends over the years. I've probably been coming here for about 6 years now. And it's always a great pleasure. And I love the warm welcome that you always offer in this beautiful country. And I just love every minute. I don't come enough. And I think it's time I got dual nationality, actually, but I somehow don't qualify. Anyway, what I'd like to do in this session is to, first of all, say, who would be a leader? You know? Who would want that role? In terms of, it's all bad news, really, isn't it? You know, we heard, we're not going back, forget the past, it's all new now. And basically it is, isn't it? Because we're in a different world. And I suppose what I hope to do is to just give you some kind of asset, I suppose. Well, I think that, you might think differently, but I think it's an asset, into how leaders can engage more fully and keep their people motivated. And I'm afraid to say it's that big F word, and I'll let you know what that F word stands for later on. Not the one you might be thinking of in English, okay, so I'm not going that way. But first of all, I thought it would be useful to give a bit of context, and we've actually had quite a bit of that this morning. And I'm just going to add to the grief of leadership, you know, what's happening in the world at the moment. But I do hope to turn that round into, let's think about the opportunities that brings. We know we've got a lot on our plates, we've got, you know, a lot of stressful times, we're handling lots of things. I've even tried to juggle for real and it didn't work. So I guess we do try and keep the plates spinning, the balls in the air, and sometimes they drop. Well, that's normal. You know, let's forgive ourselves for that and just see where we go. So what I want to do is to, I've done that bit. We can skip over that. That's the first slide gone. That's always good, isn't it? And then let's have a look. Sorry, I've got to keep turning around to just get a memory jogger. But I want to think about the shape of leadership that might be for us going forward. And we don't know what that is. We can't predict the future, but we can try and get some idea of what future trends might be. and what we have to work with as we go with our people. So those systemic influences, we've had a lot of global crises. You know, they seem never-ending at the moment, I suppose. However, it is what it is in terms of we continue to move on and see where we can take the world. And through coaching and mentoring, which is obviously where I want to use the context for leadership, we hope to spread that ability to use those skills with everyone so that we can help each other to move to where we want to be. So let's have a look at those systemic influences. We have the pandemic, the climate, recession, war. It is bad news, isn't it? So I won't dwell on that one. We've got this rapid technological change. Things are digitized. Artificial intelligence is here. We've had quite a few mentions of that, actually, haven't we, this morning? You know, AI is king at the moment, or queen, whichever way you like to look at it. And I got mixed feelings about it, as I expect a lot of us have, in terms of, I first looked at AI about 5 years ago, I suppose, and it was so exciting because it was new on the block and so many things were going to happen. As Elon Musk said recently in an interview with our Prime Minister, not for long I don't think, but anyway, he's there at the moment, saying that, you know, we can all retire. Isn't that wonderful? You've got all these wonderful beaches in Cyprus, we'll all go down there, you know, and chill out. And I say that with a little bit of humour to it, hopefully, in terms of, it sounds like a nice idea, doesn't it? You know, but how do we get the money to live on? Well, I suppose the people that create the AI will charge for the use of it to organisations. They probably already do. But there's something about being a human being, isn't there? And there's something about our need to achieve and be the special people that we are. And that's not quite so easy to do if AI has taken over. AI, it can do everything that we can do. We're a bit superfluous, aren't we? I did hear somebody say one time, just pull the plug, you know, just stop AI. But the scary thing is that AI is becoming capable of learning and developing itself. So there are some challenges there as well as some assets from it. So let's think about AI in terms of it's there, it's to stay, it supports us, it creates opportunities for us. Yes, there's going to be job changes. Yes, there's going to be retraining. But wow, we may even do those things that we wish we'd always done. You know, let's see that as an opportunity. Let's get stuck in the way things are now. Let's see where it can take us. Realise those dreams we were talking about earlier. And the economic and political and social, we've always got that. The economic situation is we're probably in negative or very low growth at the moment as a world economy. Some countries are different to others, but generally the news is not good on the economy. Good news is we're all in the same boat, okay? You know, we're not alone. We've got some people there along with us. Political scenario, think of political in two ways. Small p, political in what happens in organisations and how we manage that politics, and where we are on that scale of loving it, hating it, or seeing it again as a resource. How it helps us networking, finding out who's the people that's going to help us, give us the information, help us to move forward. As well as the big P, we can't do much about that unless we're in politics. Sorry to any politicians here. And that's societal change. We've talked quite a bit, actually, explicitly and implicitly already this morning, about the societal change and how coaching and mentoring helps that. There's some wonderful projects going on. I've just heard about a wonderful one just about 5 minutes ago, supporting women in India and Africa, and I'm wanting to share that. Where's Maria? There's Maria. Talk to her. She's got a wonderful project on the go. And of course, as I'm saying, let's have a look at those opportunities. Moving on then, what's the employee profile going to look like? So leaders, I think, as Maria Alexia said, are also employees. basically, unless they're entrepreneurs and owning their own company. But let's think about how we can best utilise the resources that we have. So demographics, we are likely to have 5 generations in the workforce, allegedly. Now, just think about that, just for a moment. I understand that Gen Z think that the generation up from them, 45 upwards, are having outdated work approaches. So they're already writing off the generation that's just 45 years old and above. So that's one thing. The other thing is that, you know, we're basically going to have, what does it say, 75? I haven't got it up there, 75% of our workforce by 2024 is going to be, it's in Harvard Business Review, and we know, we've already heard they're always right. It's something like 2026. They're going to be 75% of our workforce, Gen Z and the millennials. So what happens with 5 generations? Just leave you with that one. Could be conflict, could be, again, great opportunities. Isn't it wonderful when you get that young spirit coming in with the energy and the motivation and the curiosity, and we can learn so much from those fresh eyes? And also, isn't it so important that we get the wisdom that comes through experience, through generations that are more mature? So again, let's look on the good side of all this change that we've got. Hybrid platform, it's hybrid working is here to stay. People have loved being away from the workplace in some ways, in terms of they could have a more holistic approach to life. You know, I can remember when my kids were young, I was working in a full-time role, traditional 9 till 5 hours. And it was difficult at times. You know, it was, those of you that have been there and done it, you'll know what I'm talking about. And to be able to think I could have worked from home, oh wow, that's such a dream that I never had. But you know, good for you younger people that are able to take that opportunity and work from home. But I'm not just saying it's for the younger people, it's also for more mature people who said, I don't want to work 9 till 5 either. I heard some of my clients say, it's a bit difficult though, Lise, because we can't get everybody in at the same time for a team meeting. You know, I don't always want to do it on a global platform. And then we've got to think about maybe helping in terms of leadership, that we're going to have teams of teams so far. Just working with a client recently who had a team, they said, of 20 people. Well, 20 people, I don't think we can stretch it by any means to say that's a team. A true team has a common purpose, and we'll hear more about team coaching in a little while. But they've got that common purpose. So really, 20 people? It's quite difficult to get 5 people to have a common purpose sometimes, isn't it? Or agree on something. So to have 20 people, that's a group. We might have a team within that 20. Let's think of that. We might have a team within it. So therefore, we're going to start seeing teams of teams. Yeah, and this person that I was speaking with recently, I was doing a supervision session with them, they were really stressed out. They were a team coach, and they were really stressed out because they couldn't get everyone together in the same flow. And they were set up to fail, basically, by the client that had asked them to do it. So, you know, let's be realistic and make life easier and workable. And distributed leadership. Now, come on, you leaders that like to hang on to things and think, you know, you're the experts and everything else. Great, there is room for that. But also, a coaching and mentoring model we'll always talk about. We heard the word development right from the start this morning. It's about development. We can't have development if leaders hold on to their knowledge and hold on to their power. Let's have distributed power across organisations and across the teams, and have distributed leadership. Let's encourage all of us. You know, there was a cliche a few years ago that I heard about, we're all personal leaders, we're all responsible. Well, actually, it's true, we are, aren't we? We're all responsible. And then there's that harvesting that collective intelligence. How are we going to do that as leaders? I think so often that if you want to know what's going on in an organisation, please forgive me, leaders, you don't always know. You don't always know. And it's not a judgment or a criticism. It's because you don't have the full information. But if you go and ask somebody who is responsible for a role, they will probably give you a lot more information than some of the leaders can. And then there's that resistance to traditional leadership models. The hierarchical top-down model has had its day. Let's accept that. Now, there will be people in organisations who still work in that way. And remember, I'm talking from the basis of my own clients and my own culture, so I'm not talking for everybody's clients and everybody's cultures. I'm just putting it out there to you that in my experience, the traditional leadership role has had its day, especially with the younger generations. Younger generations do not want to be told what to do. Younger generations want to be heard, listened to, included, have the opportunity to learn coaching and mentoring skills as part of their recruitment package. So let's honour that and just think how creative they can be coming into the organisations. So it is difficult sometimes for people to change. We can all change if we want to. And if we want to survive, we need to be thinking about how we can get that change going forward so that you know, we don't have this resistance to the leaders. We support leaders. It's a tough job to be a leader. It's a really tough job. But we want to move away from technical skills to relational skills, and that's where I'm going to go mainly with this. Very quickly, because I get carried away on things. I'm probably going over my time already. Just say off, Lise, over there, okay? So coaching support for future leadership profile. The more self-aware we are as individuals, and this is, you know, it's like saying obvious things, but lots of people maybe don't necessarily think in those terms straight away. I'm talking about, when I say lots of people, I mean people in kind of management and leadership roles, because we have it transferred onto us as leaders that, you know, you must be the person out there that motivates the team, inspires the team, in fact, be wonder person, be able to do everything. It's not necessarily so, okay? But what we do need as leaders is to be able to connect. We've had a lovely session on neuroscience where we know how to do that throughout. I'm going to relax now so that I can just emit, you know, transfer out here that wonderful chemical and bring you all in, and you can trust that everything I'm saying is true. That's right, isn't it? Yeah, I was listening, you see. So, continuum of leadership agility. We've got to be able to move along. Sometimes if we've got a crisis, which we do have, we need to act quickly, and we do tell then. That is not a common coaching skill to tell. It's one more about helping people to find their own solutions. But in crisis, forget that, just do it. But we need to be able to move along that continuum of being able to tell, coach, mentor, put them all together and encourage people to join in with you. So our leadership style going forward is going to be coaching and mentoring. I'm saying that with kind of thoughts in my mind that you might be sitting out there thinking, I don't even know what coaching and mentoring is. Fair enough. If you don't, you know, you're not alone. We're trying to spread this word across the whole of the globe, and we're doing our best to do it. And you could always join EMCC Cyprus. They will tell you all about coaching and mentoring. And that last bit there is relational intelligence, and that's where I'm going next. So when I think that's where I'm going next. No, I'm not going next. Oh. Have I got a slide? No, there it is. So, I'll go back a bit. I was ahead of myself there. So, bear in mind relational leadership. So, I did a doctorate a few years ago, and my background before I became a coach, just quickly, was HR. And any of you in HR will know that often you'll get people coming to you if not, I say often, maybe it's always, when you've got a problem, and to try and help them out. I can remember a manager coming into my office one day and saying, Lise, you've got to go and sort my team out. I thought, really? So, Wonder Woman, that'll be tomorrow. And so I said, I can't do it, it's not my responsibility, but I will really support you in helping you to get there, which is what I did. And the reason that this particular manager had the issues was that he didn't connect. Or it could be a she, let's not get gender specific here, it could be a woman or a man here, that they didn't connect with their team. So therefore, the team was disconnected for obvious reasons. They weren't motivated, and when it came to being able to get all hands on for a project, they weren't interested. You know, they had no reason to engage with something that really needed doing. So I'm saying that when I did my doctorate, I thought, what is it I could do about the F word, which is feedback? And nobody really likes feedback, okay? Despite people saying, yes, I love it, and it's good for us. And again, Harvard Business Review definitely said you've got to have feedback going forward. It's the most important thing. But I agree with Harvard Business Review on this occasion. And so it's something about, I thought, if only I could do just something small to encourage people to engage in feedback rather than walk away from it and find the fear in it. You know, usually, I wonder it's the guy who does, anyway, I won't go down there because I'm not going to remember it. It's going to be a non-conversation, so I won't join in. There was the comment he made about the word, when he hears the word feedback, it's like those steps creeping after you down the corridor at the dead of night. You know, so I thought that was a good analogy because it can be like that, can't it? You don't go, you know, someone says to you, I want to give you some feedback. You don't go, yes, I've been waiting for this. Thank you so much. Just give it to me. In fact, I had a client once who said, just tell me like it is, Lise, and when I did, he didn't like it. So I thought, if I could just do a small thing to support the practice of feedback and make it more engaging, make it more inviting, make it more welcoming, then I would. So that's what I did my doctorate on. And I've created a framework. You know, I did a field study with coaches and mentors, and I created a framework called the Relational Leadership Way. And it sounds obvious, doesn't it? We know relationships make things happen. We know that in our personal lives. If we've got dissonance in our relationships, nothing happens. So I just want to introduce you today, not the whole framework. If you're interested, I've got some, I brought a couple of books with me. You can have a flick through those if you want to see the whole framework. We've only got time for me just to go on to one part. And this part is what we need to prepare. Now, I've seen so often that when we start to think about a feedback conversation and we want to prepare, what we do is think about, where's the evidence I've got to give this feedback? What do I want to say to this person? You know, what's going to happen next with them? We don't think about taking that step back always and thinking, how is it going to be received? Yeah? What's the likelihood? We can't take it for granted that we're going to know, but we can at least think about it. This is part of our preparation. Yeah? How is it going to be received? How am I going to feel about giving it? Yeah? So the first part of this is self-management. They're very simple themes. Self-management and readiness for feedback, although that's not simple to do. How are you going to know when you're ready for feedback? But I'll give you a bit more idea of that in a moment. So, although they're simple themes, knowing the description, they're not always easy to apply. So what comes next is what they mean. So self-management, and this is from the research, I'm not saying that this is in its entirety. Self-management is about what is our emotional state. Do we like this person even? You know, we might not even like them. So what bias are we going to have and prejudice are we going to have when we have that feedback conversation? Yeah? Or we might really like them. They might be our best pal, and we just want to say nice things to them. Yeah? So to prepare ourselves to say something that's not so easy to say is difficult for us because we're using that friendship. We can't get that objectivity. So it's about thinking about our emotional state in terms of, am I relaxed? You know, have I got that part of my brain relaxed so that I'm going to emanate trust? If I'm anxious about, we heard earlier, if I'm anxious about the feedback that I'm going to give, I'm going to pass it on. I will transfer whatever's going on in me, my energy, into that other person. So we're setting ourselves up to fail with a difficult feedback conversation if we're not relaxed about it, or if we let the emotion take over. Yeah? Also, how do we know about the other person? How do we know how they're feeling? So this is what preparation is about. Just to have that in our minds. Not that we're not going to know. We know how we feel, and we can maybe hopefully settle that. We're not going to know how the other person is, but let's be mindful about thinking on those lines. And what comes into that is that, I'll go to compassion first of all. Let's give ourselves a big dollop of compassion. If we've got a difficult message to give, let's think this is not going to be easy. Also, it works for the other person or persons as well. Let's have some compassion there. The message we're giving may not be an easy one. May not be an easy one. You can think of some of those examples. How do you tell someone bad news, basically? And then that middle bit, how confident do you feel then? When you've gone through all this preparation, how confident do you feel that it's going to be well received? And that's where the readiness for feedback comes in. If we can, and there's more relational skills in the other two parts of this framework. If we've engaged with this person on a positive relational level, and we've used our emotional intelligence, the most important attribute for a leader, by the way, not IQ, but EQ is the most important. You know, we're going to know that if we've got that engagement, if it's going to be well received and if the receptivity's there. If it's not working, forget it. If you haven't got that relationship connection, and we know when we've got it, we know when we haven't. Yeah? And if we haven't got it, don't bother with the feedback. Take it for another time. Okay? Saying, get off, Lise, you've said enough. And then what else do I need to prepare? Very quickly, you will get these slides, so don't worry. Maybe you were telling me that. Yeah, telling me that. Tell them they're going to get the slides, not get off. I've got another half an hour. Good, okay. So what you need to do is avoid putting off having that conversation. Again, I think that's really unfair if we don't give people the feedback that they need to help them to improve their performance and develop. So unfair, isn't it? Because you'd think you're doing a good job if nobody tells you you're not, or how you could move on and develop. Okay, so let's not put it off, let's get on with it. And all of that is trying to find out as well what's a real issue. There's often a hidden issue. And all of you that are coaches will know that straight away. When you're working with a client, the issue that's presenting is not always the real issue. Yeah, that can soon go away, but it is the opener to the conversation. And it could be the same thing with giving feedback. What are the facts? That's your preparation bit. I am moving on a bit now because I probably am getting near my time. How else can I see the issue? What possibilities might there be for what you're seeing, the behaviour that you're seeing? So often we can just go with what we're seeing in front of us and make huge assumptions about what's going on. In fact, we have to make assumptions sometimes for safety reasons. However, in a feedback situation, go in with a curious mind, investigation, have that conversation to find out the information. And whose reality is it? My reality in this feedback? I could get it wrong. Yeah, I could get it wrong. Anyway, you can read that for yourselves, all right? And then the solutions are, when we want to give our feedback, and we're not going to put it off, what do I know about the other person's willingness to engage? What do I know about that? Do I even know they're going to listen to me, or are they just going to be switched off by me? What's the bigger picture? Let's get systemic again. What's going on outside of our relationship? What's going on outside of what the person's having to work with? Let's look at that wider picture there. As I said earlier, we are going to transfer our feelings onto others, so I won't go through that again. I think we've kind of looked at some of that stuff there. I'll just pick up on look in the mirror and change the conversation. We need to be mindful that sometimes not sometimes, always, we have a responsibility in the conversation as well. How are we contributing to it if it's not going so well? What can we do differently? What can we change in ourselves that's going to encourage the other person to engage with us more? Okay, so, never before, these are strong words, this is from HBR, never before has the quality of relationship in the workplace been more important. I know I'm saying that with a bit of tongue-in-cheek, but actually it's so important because it's all about relationships, whatever we can do. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, dear Liz, and thank you for mentioning that we will share all the slides.
That's okay.
All the presentations.
I had a good prompt like this. Please hold the slides up.
I was just thinking that, especially that slide, the last one, it's very nice to reflect on it. We've seen a lot of things today that we could reflect on it, but this slide, it's very nice for reflecting.
Good. Should I have left it longer?
I will make sure to distribute it to everyone. Thank you so much.
And thank you. Thank you.